Being able to copy a keyframe from one location to another can come in quite handy when you're wanting to take stored details within your animation over to a new location along your timeline. The process of creating a copy is done using the same technique as you'd used if wanting to copy an object, by simply holding down the Shift key. Let's show you how that's done. This is a file named Copy Keys. Let's go ahead and select the ball and play things back. As you can see, we simply have a ball that's been animated moving from one corner to another, each key along the timeline being spaced 60 frames apart. What that boils down to is the ball basically takes 2 seconds to go from one position to another. Check out the keys on the timeline and you can see how things have been spaced out. When the ball makes it to the upper right-hand corner, let's say that we'd like it to stop there for 1 second before continuing down to the lower right corner. Think about this. Don't we already have something in our scene that stores the position of the ball in that upper right corner? You bet, it's the key at frame 60. So if we could somehow copy that positional information to another frame, wouldn't the ball then be in the same place or in the same position at that frame too? You're darn right. Let's see if we can't do that. We'll stop the play and select the key at frame 60. With that key now white, meaning that it's selected, we'll hold down the Shift key and then copy that key over to frame 90. Now when you make your copy, notice the original key is staying where it's at. Think about this. We have 2 locations on the timeline where we have stored information with that ball being in the upper right-hand corner. One of those at frame 60, the other being at frame 90. Let's play this thing back and see how things look. So check that out. When the ball hits the upper right corner, it now stays locked into that position for 1 second in time. What about this? What do you think would happen if we copied the key at frame 1 and laid it directly on top of the key at 180? 180 being the key that has the ball in the lower left corner. Well, that new copied key would basically replace the existing or current key at 180. And in that would have the ball not cruising over to the lower left-hand corner, but instead returning to the same location as where it was at frame 1, right? Let's see if we can't do that. We'll select the key at 0, hold down the Shift key, and then carefully copy it over directly on top of 180. Now when you're doing this, focus your attention to just below the timeline on the left-hand side so you know indeed you're getting directly right on top of that 180 key. Once that's done, let's return to our first frame by hitting the Home key, then play things back. So check that out. The ball moves to the right-hand side, holds there for 1 second, goes down to the bottom right corner, and then returns to its original location where it was at frame 1. Okay, now how about this one? Let's say that as the ball travels back to the upper left-hand corner, we want it to stop for a moment once it gets to the middle of the screen. There's currently no key that contains that information, that middle of the screen position. But you know what? That doesn't mean we can't make one. Let's stop the playback and take our time slider to right around frame 150. This particular location we want to somehow store. We can do that by using the Set Key button. So activate Set Key, then create a keyframe. If you look at the timeline, directly on top of frame 150, we have a brand new key. A key that stores the ball's current position. If we select that key and copy it to frame 165, it'll hold that position for 15 frames. If we now play things back, you'll see what we've done. Take a look at that. We got the ball to actually stop dead in its tracks right in the middle of the screen. We did that by creating a new key and then making a copy of it. So does that make sense? When you want an object locked into a position for a length of time, just locate the key that has it in that position and make a copy. If there's not a key there, make one. Then you simply take that copy and move it to a different location along the timeline. Whatever distance, in other words, number of frames you have in between the two clone keys, well, that determines how long the object will stay locked into that position or state. Now, it's going to be important that you remember how that works because scenarios just like that are definitely going to be coming up in your own projects.